later. So the Nets have said they are willing to be patient with Kyrie Irving, but with no change in the New York City vaccine mandates in sight, they could be facing an entire season without him. So there's been some talks that the Nets should trade Kyrie, but there have not been any takers up until this point. And one NBA executive told Hoops Hype, for the most part, every front office and coaching staff is scared to death of him and doesn't want to touch him. Honestly, it might have been 4 teams before this, his refusal to get vaccinated. He's a guy that front offices don't trust and coaches don't want to deal with him.
That's a bad combo.
They're still paying him for away games, the Nets are. So he could make around $19 million this year. He loses around $380,000 per home game that he is out. So he's missed 18 games last season, and the Nets went 12-6 in those games. He also missed 3 playoff games. I don't know what to make of the Kyrie situation anymore. It does seem like we've just closed the door on discussing it, because if he's not going to get vaccinated or not thinking about getting vaccinated, there's really no point in having the Kyrie discussion. But the Nets would like to figure out a way to either move on from him and bring in other players, or decide what they're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, the Nets had a double whammy. Kyrie is not dependable, and the league changed a rule so James Harden is no longer the same player. And Golden State's now great. It's really bad. Who really loses here is KD.
Yeah.
Because Golden State now has rebuilt very quickly, and I watched them again last night. Golden State's really good and really fast and really fun and really athletic and really deep. And Harden is not the same player because of the rule change, and Kyrie you can't depend on. So I thought this would take longer to sort of unravel, but it's unraveled quickly, and I feel bad for KD because I've said this. KD is the greatest, arguably the greatest, outside of maybe Kareem in his prime. Like even better than MJ. I need a basket, and there's no way to defend him. He can get you a 3.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
He can get you a 2. He can get you a free throw. He is as good as the league has. I just don't like his decision-making on where he goes.
Well, I mean, obviously the Golden State decision worked out really well for him.
Initially, yes.
I didn't even have a problem with him going to the Nets. If he was unhappy there for whatever reason, whatever was going on between Draymond and him or the organization, he had earned the right at that point to go somewhere where he wanted to play, and for whatever reasons he wanted to go there for. The situation with Kyrie, look, whatever my opinion on it doesn't matter. He's clearly willing to give up money and clearly willing to sit at home and not play. But if you're another team, why on earth would I be trading for that?
Oh God, no! I have no interest in him or Simmons.
He's just not reliable as a player,
and they're expensive. So I get.
Again, expensive, completely unreliable,
sort of indifferent to playing. It's like
it's not and listen, it doesn't have to be your priority, but then teams can also choose to make the decision to not make you a priority.
You're not my priority if basketball isn't your priority.
I mean, you can't build around a player like that.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
Yards per game. So if you can get this together, they could potentially go on a run. They are absolutely not out of the playoffs. Now, they play the Cardinals this weekend. Kyler Murray is still an unknown there, but they're 10.5-point dogs to the Cardinals, according to Fox Bets.
Can I say he's done 2 things? Cam's done 2 things. And this, it sounds superficial, but imaging matters.
Yeah.
So when Cam was without work, remember he was sitting out there without work, he would release videos of him just dripping sweat working out. New England says, Belichick appreciates that. We'll take you. Cam Newton, on the market. I am going to get vaccinated. Say what you want. But considering the situation we just had with an unvaccinated quarterback in the last 5-6 days, what's the imaging? Don't kid yourself on this. 2 times Cam has made a point of listening and going. And I've never been a huge Cam fan. But the workout videos, I said it when it happened. I said, that's exactly what you do. Russell Wilson does this all the time. It's imaging. I am here in Arizona. I know it. It matters. It sends a message to teams. And I think Cam getting the vaccination, not to be political, but what it told me was, hey, I'm serious. I'll do whatever it takes. I may have been reticent, but I'm getting it. I want to play. And I think Carolina, listen.
He wanted to put out there that he was going to be available if someone wanted to pick him up. And if he wasn't vaccinated right now, he probably wouldn't be there because it would take too long for him to process through the protocols to be available to play.
And because of the situation we just had where people are like, oh, I don't want one of those things.
Right. Well, I mean, look, it's not political because both parties are very openly telling you to get vaccinated. It's not a political situation. It's just an opinion situation and nothing more. But if you look at the rest of their schedule, obviously they have the Cardinals this weekend. Interestingly enough, they play the Washington football team next week. So it'll be up against Ron Rivera and the Washington football team. Then they play the Dolphins, the Falcons, Bills, Bucks, Saints, and then the Bucks again. So it's a little bit of a tall task towards the end of the season, but they're absolutely still in it. And like I said, their defense is playing really well. So Cam Newton back in Carolina.
I would have not guessed that, but
I would not have guessed it either.
Great example, like you said. Don't burn bridges.
No.
You never know.
You never know when you're going to be in a situation to go back somewhere. And why? Why would they burn bridges anyway? Why would he burn bridges anyway? They're like, sometimes things just come to an end. So the Ravens and Dolphins play tonight, and Tua missed last week's game against the Texans with a fractured finger, and his status for tonight with the Ravens is still up in the air. He's listed as questionable. And will be a game time decision. If he can't go, Jacoby Brissett will be the starter. However, Tua will still be active, and he will serve as the backup. Jacoby Brissett he started 4 games this season. He is 1-3, 64.4 completion percentage, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Also has 64 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown.
By the way, if he misses tonight, in the 26 games he's been a Dolphin, he would miss 11.
Yeah, so
you got to be there.
I think this is. Look, they're not going to rush him back. Obviously, if he's healthy, if he's not healthy, he's not going to be out there, and that's just it is what it is. It does feel like at this point in the season, every game that he is out, it's closing the door on whatever potential he had to go. Now, look, there's lots of games left. We're only halfway through the season, but he's not healthy. So every game that he's missing is a game of evaluation or a game he could prove himself.
This is also it's confirmation bias for the people in the NFL and perhaps in the Dolphin organization that didn't like him due to injuries. They're going, I told you so. Like, it's one of those things when there's a narrative and then it becomes reality, even if it's briefly, it gives people a lot of weight to go, yeah, I told you so.
Well, I don't know that it is a narrative. There was evidence that he was injured. He was coming off of a catastrophic injury in college. And now we do live, despite what many people think, in a time of great medical advancement, and you can come back from catastrophic injuries. We see players do that. However, when you're building an organization and you haven't had a franchise quarterback since Dan Marino, perhaps maybe you want to go with a player that doesn't have that hanging over them. Like that was my big hesitation amongst other things, but my main hesitation with Tua was injuries because being availability is a skill, and some guys are just injury prone and it's not their fault, but there's excuses and there's reasons. If you're not available, you cannot perform, and at that position you can't build a team around that. That's why Kyle Shanahan and the Niners are in the situation that they're in.